Fun. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Harsh Language Podcast. This is episode 76.
Yes, it is.
We're
back. Apparently I'm loud. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
It is a little bit loud. I just heard it clipping. Actually, not to even be funny. So I don't know. You got to figure it out. You're good. I have to make an amendment, I think, to my favorite movies of 2023 list that we did last week.
Oh, because of this one?
Yeah.
Didn't think got it hard enough, huh?
Well, no, I hadn't seen this movie yet, and now I did. We're talking about The Holdovers today, a little bit later. So, I'm excited to talk about that movie. Yeah, very good. Now,
Very
one
good.
of my favorite films of 2023. How was, I don't know. Do stuff, everybody. Go follow and everywhere. Check out the website, harshlanguage.tv. Subscribe if you haven't already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do the things.
Let's get into it.
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
How was everybody's weekend?
Did a lot of gaming.
Marvin's consumed, Dusty. You can't make fun of me anymore.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of gaming.
Yeah.
You can call it that.
Mine's all right.
Yeah?
I almost flew out to Santa Clara to go to the playoff game. I'm kind of glad I didn't because the team lost. But
The playoff game. Who was playing?
yeah, the Niners were playing the Packers in Santa Clara.
Wasn't that like a big upset
That's
or
a big
something?
No, it was not a big upset. It should have been.
I thought the Packers were like set to win the Super Bowl or something.
No, they were. We lost Aaron Rodgers last year. This is the first year that our first guy's been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, and this is his first year as a starter. It was just like an evaluation year. We were like, we might be good, we might not, and we actually made it to the playoffs and almost went to the NFC Championship game. But
yeah, I don't follow football, so I don't know. You're speaking Japanese to me right now. You know who does follow football? Nick. You guys remember Nick? We had him on the show. Good old Nick.
Shout out, Nick.
He's a huge Raiders fan, unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
But I've been seeing a lot of TikToks about how I don't know what I watched at some point in my TikToking career, but all I get now is like conspiracy theory nonsense and like people trying like paranormal stuff. I have like the weirdest algorithm. I don't know what I liked or what, but part of this conspiracy talk bullshit that I get is that football is scripted. I've been seeing a lot of videos about that. Can you speak on this, Dusty?
Yeah, it's a long running joke. People say it. I mean, if you look back the last couple Super Bowl, like the NFL will pick the colors of what the Super Bowl logo is going to be.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, it's matched up with the teams who are in the Super Bowl together.
I also saw a video, though. Apparently, I don't know. I think it maybe I don't know what state it was, but apparently, like a news report, like TV news channel, whatever fucking news. They did a report about like the Super Bowl, but they mentioned the two teams that were going to be in it when that's obviously not known yet. And they were like, is this just an accident or whatever? I don't know. I don't really give a fuck. Probably scripted. Who cares?
I mean, it's sports entertainment, and
It's
you
rigged.
can't say that those guys aren't out there trying to play to win, but there's some ref calls and some ref no calls where people think like they are micromanaging the game in the background for certain outcomes, even if players are playing to play to win.
Marvin, do me a favor. Give me a little bit of a test real quick. You lowered it. I know you lowered it. I could hear it.
I didn't.
Now it's low again. So something's fluctuating and you are not in control of it. So I don't know.
Yep.
But anyhow.
That's what it is.
You're good. Let's do it live. Fuck it. So you almost flew out to watch the game and didn't because good thing.
I was traveled out, man. I've just been traveling so much.
I know.
And my team was a long shot to win anyway, so I didn't want to fly
International
out there
man
just
of
to watch
mystery.
my team lose.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It still would have been fun, though. I can't remember the last time I went to a Ranger game where they won, so I got that going for me. I got Marvin addicted to Tarkov, Dusty. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was bound to happen. It's
an addicting game.
Yeah, he'll get burnt out. You'll be the one playing the wipe till the end, till the rewipe, and everybody else will be done with it in a couple of weeks.
I don't know. Marvin's been playing more than me. Who the fuck is this person, bro? Oh my god! I just get friend requests on Discords now. This one was from some OnlyFans person. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Some Twitter bot try to bait me into giving them money.
Nice. That's big. Yeah. What you guys been watching? Anything good? I finished Reacher season 2. Did you finish that, Dusty?
Yep.
How'd you like it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I know it was split amongst fans. Some people didn't like it as much because it was a team up.
I don't even see. I mean, the first season was a team up, so that doesn't make fucking sense. But
I mean, it kind of was. He was working with and against the cops mostly. He had the one, the lady cop that was on his side. But
yeah, my girlfriend. I haven't watched. I haven't seen any like commentary on it, so I don't really know. However, my personal feelings. I don't know that I liked it as much as the first season, but I did like it.
I liked season 1 a little bit better too, but I enjoyed this. I
did
didn't
too.
think
Yeah.
it was awful or anything. And
No, I thought it was
apparently
really good.
they've already picked the book for season 3, and he's going to be alone, I guess.
You didn't even try, Marvin.
Yeah,
I did try. I gave it a fair, honest shot.
Okay.
How many episodes did you make it, Marvin?
He made it 1. He didn't even watch 1.
Not even 1.
He watched 10 minutes of the first episode, was upset that he didn't talk a lot, and then turned it off. Marvin was just in a bad mood that day. I'm convinced.
He gets to wait till he gets to prison, man. That's some good scenes in there.
Ooh, maybe I'll revisit it.
Yeah. No, it's a great show. I don't know what your problem is, but I think the difference between this season and season 1. And I think what I liked better about the first season, or I think the appeal of Jack Reacher is that he is gonna fuck everybody up, right? Like that's the thing about him, and he doesn't need guns to do it. And I think for me, the appeal of a character like him is similar to what I really liked about the Punisher Netflix show. What they did well with that, where it's regular people. Excuse me. It's regular tough guys who think they are fucking tough that fuck around and find out. I think that's the appeal of shows and characters like this for me. So what he did in the first episode where he fucking, with the carjacker guy, that shit that's the type of stuff that I want to see in these types of things. So I think I enjoyed the show. I thought the story was great. I liked seeing him team up with his old colleagues and stuff. But this one was a bigger scope, and there wasn't a lot of fucking around and finding out. It was just him like fucking up bad guys. I like to see he's at a bar and some guy's like beating on his girlfriend, and then he drags him out to the street and fucking beats the shit out of him. That's the type of stuff I like to see. That's why I like the Punisher. Like, I don't know if you remember the first season of Punisher, but remember the construction guys who were like fucking with him the whole time?
Yes.
And the whole episode, you're just like, man, they just don't know what they're doing.
Like season 2, the drug dealer is like, find a new profession, man.
Yeah. No, that's the stuff that I like. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's how like a lot of this books start. It's him like a random encounter with somebody, like beats up the wrong dude who's nephew to a kingpin, and on goes the story.
And I gotta say, I know the movies. I know Tom Cruise is like not as accurate of a portrayal as like the big and hulking.
Not even close.
But those movies are pretty good. I think I like those movies. I think they're decent.
Yeah,
especially the first one.
Yeah, I mean they did a decent job. Yeah, pulling the stories. But yeah.
Did you see the Jack Reacher movies,
Cruise
Marvin?
Is no Reacher.
Tom Cruise is no Reacher. Marvin,
Jack
did you see
Reacher
that?
got movies too?
Oh yeah, Tom Cruise plays him.
No.
Yeah, I think the movies were divisive amongst fans because, like Dusty's saying, Tom Cruise is a small man, and I think Jack Reacher is written as like a hulking fucking
6'3",
individual.
6'4". Tom Cruise is 5'6".
That's right.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah, Marvin gets it.
You got to get it right, because you know how I feel about small men.
No, I don't actually. I don't think. So I finished that. That was good. I was a big fan, and apparently they're already talking about season 3. So
Nice.
So that's cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be
I
like
love
if
milking
they
this
redid
shit.
Friday and Chris Rock was Devo.
Wait, what did you say, Marvin?
Just doesn't work. Just
Oh, I said they love milking shit
mhm.
until it's dead. That's the only thing. I mean,
Well, there's a lot of books, so like they're following the book.
That's true.
So if each season is dedicated to a book, I'm cool with that. Now, if you're gonna start writing your own shit, maybe then we cut it off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get.
But
that.
that was I quite enjoyed it. It was good. I did enjoy it. I also finished Fargo. That was good as well. I don't think you said you hadn't watched it, have you, Dusty? Right?
Not yet. No.
Yeah, I plan on
watch this.
I plan on starting Echo soon. I've heard good things about Echo. So
yeah, good.
But
ending's a little bit underwhelming. You can tell they readjusted it a little bit at the end, but it's overall the series is good.
Fargo was good though. You watched the other seasons? You have, right, Dusty? Like you're pretty much caught up. Yeah. It's not the best season, I don't think. Well, that's unfair to say. It's different. I liked it a lot. It was different than the other seasons. I know, Marvin, you're not super familiar with Fargo. I think we should probably make Marvin watch the movie at some point because the movie's fucking amazing. But the first few seasons of Fargo, the first especially, follow the movie and like what the movie did. And that is the movie and the first season of the show and some of the other seasons. You're following a character who made like a really stupid decision, and you're watching everything fall apart around them. Like they're crumbling under the weight of like what they've done. That's essentially what Fargo is. That's like the theme.
I like that. That sounds interesting.
And you always have like a villain, and I'm using that like term loosely, but there's always like a villain who you follow very closely as well. Yeah. And like that person is generally like bearing down on the other person. This season did not have that at all. This season was like you're actually following a character that you're rooting for the entire time. And things are not crumbling around them. In fact, everything.
Oh, so you hate positivity then?
No, it's not that. It's not.
That's what I'm getting here.
A protagonist rather than an antagonist.
No, I really enjoyed this season. It was just different. That's all I'm saying. Different. Yeah, I really did enjoy it though. What's her name? Juno Temple's in it. She's from Ted Lasso. She was amazing. That was really good. The villain in this season, I told you guys, was what's his name from fucking whatever. I can't remember his name now. We went over this already, but yeah, no, it was very good. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I recommend you watch it, Marvin. How about that? What you think of that?
Yeah, I like that. Maybe I will watch it.
Speaking of Marvel shit, I watched the first episode of What If because I watched the first season, and I know you didn't watch the first season, Dusty.
No,
that show is terrible. I just want to throw that out there.
Still?
The first season was bad too. Like there was like a couple of good things in the first season, but it was mostly bad. And I watched the first episode of this, and man, is it bad too. Like it is. The first episode is like, what was it? It was like, it was what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like that's the premise of What If, Marvin. It's like, what if this happened? What if this happened? And I've seen a bunch of criticism from like I think like anti-woke people on the internet that had like how Marvel's obsessed with Sharon Carter and Agent Carter, which is dumb because she's a cool badass character, as Dusty will attest to because he liked the show. But season 1 did what if Sharon Carter got the super soldier serum? And not Sharon Carter, I'm sorry, Peggy Carter.
Peggy.
Yeah. And like Steve Rogers dies to the super soldier serum, and then she becomes like not Captain America, obviously Captain Britain or whatever the fuck they call her. And like, okay, well, what if that happened? Well, nothing, because it's the same exact series of events. It's just that she's a stand-in for Steve Rogers, and they don't even make her interesting. That's lame. They don't even make her interesting. They just make her like exactly Steve Rogers, just as a female.
That's pointless, yeah.
So I don't know, but so I'm not probably gonna finish it. I watched the first episode and it rubbed me the wrong way, and I was just like, well, these stories I don't care. Like, what do I care about fucking?
Who is this show for?
I don't know. I don't know.
People that want to consume everything Marvel. It's funny. Probably. I read an article the other, or I didn't even actually read the article. I saw a headline. I will say actually. Oh,
That's the new reading. You
You're a
didn't know
headline
that?
reader?
No, I skimmed it a little bit because the headline was interesting. Because the headline was like James Gunn playing it safe or something like that with the DC, and the article, like after skimming, it was like he's actually casting characters and staying close to the core content of the comics rather than what Marvel has been doing as far as changing sexes and or changing,
Yeah.
the race or whatever. Like he should take more chances and follow Marvel's suit and do all those changes and not play it so safe and stay close to the.
I don't think Marvel has done that much, to be honest. Like the gender swapping and race swapping stuff. I don't think they've done it that much, personally. Right. But also, as we've said before, I really don't give a fuck in most cases. But like what
Unless
if
it's your favorite character.
No, that's not true at all.
You went on a rant about Silver Surfer possibly being a woman, Dan, if I recall.
Yes, but it wasn't because it's my favorite character. It was because I think it's a senseless, pointless act.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, listen, it's hard to explain. I don't know.
But that's how fans feel about other characters that they've done that to.
I'm not. I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying I don't know that Marvel has done it that much up until this point so far.
No.
I don't think they have. Like, to be fair, like, I can't really think of.
I mean, it depends. It depends. I mean, the MCU, no, not really. Marvel, I mean.
And the what if thing.
You're not talking about like the original like She-Hulk versus regular Hulk, right? You're talking about.
Well, that would be an instance of if you go back far enough. Like they did it just to do it. Like, hey, we have the Hulk. Let's make a female version, She-Hulk.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about like characters that are men in a comic, and then like the movie version is a female.
Oh yeah, I would need to see like a list of the times
like
they've done
Fury
it. I can't really think.
In the original comics, and they had the alternate Earth where he's black. So in the MCU, he's black, which nobody really had a problem with. But.
No, that's the Black Fury was
Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. When you say the Black Fury, I'm thinking like the superhero named the Black.
No,
Fury.
no, that would be a badass name, Marvin. I haven't seen you and the Black Fury in the same room. That's all I'm saying. No, the Black Nick Fury is from what is it? I can't remember the name. It was like an alternate. It's alternate, but I can't remember the name of it. But
it's an alternate Earth.
But it was like a pretty big run of like they had like the Spider-Man version of it. I can't think of the fucking name. Anyhow, I don't think Captain Carter isn't that. That's her name, Captain Carter. It's not a race swap thing. It's like a dumb what if Spider-Man joined fucking Thanos? It's like it's just dumb like concepts of like what if this happened, and people are criticizing it for like focusing on Peggy Carter because it does quite a bit, and they even had Peggy Carter as Captain Carter in the Doctor Strange sequel, but I don't think it's an issue of race swapping. I don't know why they're obsessing over it personally because they haven't made her very interesting. So that's all I was just saying.
No, it's definitely a weird thing to obsess over because it's like one episode of show that has no bearing on the entire universe as a whole. So who really even cares?
Well, the thing about What If is so the first season is like they're all these like what if things. But somehow certain people come together at the end to stop like this multiversal fucking thing. Essentially, spoilers, fucking a version of Ultron gets a hold of the Infinity Stones. And he essentially just goes through the multiverse. Like he becomes the most powerful being in the multiverse, even more powerful than Uatu, the Watcher. And then Uatu basically is telling the story of What If, and he's like, and so Uatu Marvin is the Watcher. He's like this celestial being that's part of a group of beings, and his job is to like watch over Earth and make sure that like the prime universe is like kept intact and like
timelines.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, he like plucks heroes out of all these timelines. And then to entrap fucking Ultron. I don't know what this second season's going to be about. It's cool that they introduced Uatu. There's even a scene in the first season that I liked very, very much where they show him using the power cosmic, and it looks like the way the power cosmic was drawn in the comic books, which was like the Ditko, like fucking black bubbly. You know what I'm talking about, Dusty? Like, you know how when like Silver Surfer uses his powers? Oh, so good. That gave me a little bit of a chubby, but otherwise, I don't know. The show's not that great, so I don't know. Anyhow,
I mean, if the story's done, probably it could be amazing. My favorite what if is not even a Marvel story; it's a DC story. Red Sun is an amazing storyline.
Yes, Red Sun is very good.
Yeah, like what if Superman crash landed in Russia and grew up a communist in the Soviet Union?
I
would love communist Superman.
That's kind of fire.
It's
not that he's just a communist; he's like a fucking dick. The problem with that, right? The problem with that, and I've been vocal of that as well, is sort of like the Zack Snyder Superman, right? It's like a what if. Like, what if Superman was a morose, depressed fucking idiot who didn't quite know like what his duty is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my issue with that mainly is that like it's been so overdone. Like we have evil Superman, we have Brightburn, we've got fucking the dude from The Boys, we've got fucking evil Superman in the comic. That's like
Homelander.
The bad. I actually
Invincible.
I saw a tweet about this, and I was actually like, yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, Superman is a character like. Writers like truly don't know what to do with him, I feel like, which is why I really loved Superman and Lois, which I know you haven't finished, Dusty, and you should.
I will. Before the next season starts, I will.
The last season, yeah. But the reason I love that show so much is because Superman, I think people have a really hard time writing interesting stories for him because he is obviously, he's Superman. He can't be killed. He can't be beaten. It's like, it's hard to make an interesting thing happen with him. And the simplicity of like, oh yeah, of course he's Superman, but like, let's just give him the problems that everybody has. And like, have him balance fatherhood and being a husband with being fucking Superman. And like the challenges that come along with that. And it makes for such an awesome, interesting show. Anyhow, every video game with fucking like the injustice and this, that, and that, it's like, it's always about Superman being evil because it's like, oh, if Superman went bad, like he would, that's it, we're fucked. So it's always like the story that's done. It's like, so somebody had tweeted like that, like all we get these days is evil Superman. And then James Gunn seems to be making an effort of like really going back to the roots of what makes Superman cool. And it's like Christopher Reeve said, like, it's that he's your friend. Like, he'll always be there. There's no job too small. He'll save a cat out of a tree and he'll fucking take out fucking the New Gods or whatever the fuck. So the fact that James Gunn is going back to that, I think, is going to be super refreshing and awesome. Yeah, I don't know how we got off on this tangent, but I did watch the first episode of What If, and I did not care for it because I don't give a fuck if Nebula joined the Nova Corps. But I am interested to watch Echo. Have you guys watched anything?
True Detective. Did you watch that one yet?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I did. The first episode was great. Did you like it?
Marvin?
I did not.
Nah, Marvin's in fucking shit. Marvin, you're fired from the podcast. You're in fucking shambles over here.
I haven't watched anything.
Yeah, Marvin's he's been more Tarky than me.
Oh, yeah, I blame you, Dan.
Not my fault. No, it's not
Dan's
my fault. Yeah, I liked that. I thought the first episode was great. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. I liked how they brought, the layer of superstition or supernatural element to it, but,
It's a little X-File-y.
It is.
Which I like.
That's why I like it.
Yeah. But, so I saw, I don't know, I saw a few complaints on the internet, and I saw an article about it that, like, fans of the show are being a little complainy that this season seems to be going in a more supernatural direction than previous seasons, which I think is a stupid criticism because the first season
season 1 was supernatural as fuck.
Well, but here's the thing. First of all, this is one episode. We don't know where the season's going, okay? Mm-hmm. While I grant that, yes, some things had a supernatural edge to them, that does not mean that they are supernatural. So spoilers, one of the things that happens in this episode is a woman is basically having visions of her dead husband, who seemingly shows her where this group of missing men are buried or frozen or whatever the fuck. Yeah, on the surface level, that does seem very supernatural, but that does not mean that it is supernatural. It could just be the writer and director playing with the audience, much like my boy who had a birthday this week. Happy birthday, John Carpenter. Much like John Carpenter plays with Michael Myers, as we've talked about numerous times. Like, he's not really supernatural, but he's got a little bit of an edge to him. That you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we talked about that about the Saint, right? The Saint movie that we reviewed. Was
Saint
she
Maud.
really experiencing Saint Maud? Was she really experiencing like these voices and visions, or
Right.
was she just fucking crazy?
Right, and every scene in that movie played both sides of the fence up until the very end with that smash cut. Right, we talked about the Marvin. You weren't there for that one, right?
No, I did watch it though. I don't know. I don't think I recorded with you all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, up until that's a perfect example actually, because like the ending, it's like, oh yeah, she's the vision of God and everybody's bowing to her, but then it cuts and it's like, no, she's just having a painful death. So basically my argument is that like we don't know where the season's going, so it could just be that they're playing with the audience. But I'll be honest, I don't care if it is supernatural because I love the X-Files, and this felt like an X-Files episode. It really did.
That's sick.
And again, you know, the first season wasn't supernatural, but it had like a little supernatural shit in it, like, right? Like it wasn't, you know, they played a lot with like the Yellow King and like that, especially at the end where the fucking portal opens up and you see the universe and it's like, did they really see that? Like, what the fuck was that? It's never really explained. So you don't really know if it literally happened or what, but like it had little supernatural fucking tinges in it, which I think that's cool and fine because like,
you should give it a shot, Marvin. I think you'd like it. You don't have to have seen any of the previous ones to enjoy this one. It's all its own story. So
if you're going to watch anything,
do that.
Watch the first season of True Detective. It's one of the best seasons of fucking television I think that's ever existed.
Yeah.
It's up there with Sopranos.
But if this is current, I mean, maybe
you can watch this too. I'm just saying you have to watch season 1 of Breaking Bad.
Give this a shot. And if you like it, go back and watch the first one because the first one is likely going to be better than this one because the first one is, like Dan said, like that's peak television.
Mm-hmm. I don't think the first one will ever be top, to be perfectly honest. Season 3 with Mahershala Ali was really good, but not as good as the first season. And I suspect this will probably be the same thing. But I don't know. I liked it. I think Jodie Foster's great. I like seeing her back in like a fucking police role.
Yep.
I think the story is
small town. Everybody knows everybody, and something crazy happens, and you got to figure out, you know, how they're gonna figure it out. It's
not just a small town. You're in Alaska at a point where like you're in perpetual night. Where I don't know how long that takes place for, but like imagine living in that scenario. And doesn't Alaska get the perpetual daytime too for like several weeks, like later on?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
it depends on where you're at. Like 30 days of night, I think, is where some places have it, and some places have months of night. And I don't know.
Let's see.
That's scary.
Well, like think about what that does to your psyche.
Well, Sweden's like that too, because remember Midsummer.
Well, that's why they
show up
banned
there.
alcohol, and they have the highest suicide rate amongst any place in the world.
Alaska experiences 60 days of night, specifically in Utqiagvik, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Due to its geographical location, it's situated above the Arctic Circle, a region that experiences polar night. Could you imagine being nighttime for 60 days?
I'm sleeping so much.
Like, I have a wacky sleep schedule, so sometimes there are stretches, and Dusty too, because I know Dusty does. Like, there are stretches where I, like, don't really see the sunlight. If it gets bad enough, I'll go, like, obviously when I go to bed, it's usually the sun is up, but I'm not like
see the sunlight when I go to bed.
Yeah, I'm not experiencing the daytime. I'm like sleeping through it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that does take a toll on you, like mentally. Even for just a few days. So could you imagine it be for like 60 days? So I think the supernatural. Are we just naturally going to cover True Detective every week? Is that what's happening right now?
I mean, it's out. We could watch it before we record, but that's a dedication.
Well, we'll talk about it, but whatever. But I think the supernatural elements that we've seen thus far are probably, I think that's going to be how they play it. Is like, well, your mental is not that great when you're experiencing perpetual night. And I think that's how they're going to play in the supernatural elements. And it will be just like playing with the audience. Like, are these people experiencing this, or are they just fucking nuts because it's nighttime all the time? Yeah. But besides that small town, like, mystery having to be solved, the mystery itself seems pretty interesting. Reminds me of The Thing for many reasons, of course. It's set up like a pretty interesting mystery.
Well, just because of the opening scene. I mean,
well, the opening scene with the people, you mean? Like
no, with the caribou, the hunter and the caribou.
Oh yeah, that was weird as fuck. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was super weird.
And so that ties to, like, you kind of feel like the similar thing happened
to them. Yeah, I didn't think of that, actually. That's actually a good point. Something was calling to them. But they had, I don't want to spoil too much for Marvin, but the weird thing was they were like, she's awake. Remember that guy had that like fucking seizure thing? He's like, she's awake.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that reminded me of that movie, Autopsy of Jane Doe. Have you ever seen that movie?
It sounds familiar.
That's a great horror movie, just not to deviate. You guys should fucking watch that. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a great fucking horror movie. About a dad and a fucking son. They are fucking autopsy people, whatever you call them. And they have like a Jane Doe, which is obviously the police term for an unidentified person, female.
Yeah.
And weird shit happens. Let's just say that. Oh, it's so good. Anyhow, this first episode reminded me of a lot of different things. Very, very X-File-y, so I love it automatically.
Yeah. Only 2 episodes out, so you can see if you like it or not, Marvin.
I will. I'll watch it tonight.
But the other cool thing that it reminded me a little bit of like a Taylor Sheridan type of story, because clearly there's some yarn that's going to be spun throughout the season about like the mistreatment of indigenous peoples, right? Like, because part of this is about a past case, Marvin, and the past case involves a murdered Alaskan woman as part of a tribe.
Yep.
And like, the case just kind of didn't go anywhere because like nobody gives a fuck about indigenous peoples and shit.
Did you guys see Killers of the Flower Moon?
Not yet, no. But I know it has to do with that.
Similar. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's a good movie.
But Taylor Sheridan, I thought of him because, well, obviously Wind River being the most similar.
Yeah.
But Taylor Sheridan does a really good job of like shedding light on certain things that a lot of people don't really talk about.
True.
Even in Yellowstone,
proponent of delivering the message of the plight of the indigenous people of North America. Yeah.
But not just the indigenous people too, to his credit. Like Yellowstone, I know like Yellowstone has like a big like kind of conservative viewership, but like I think one of the important things that show sheds light on is, and I think we've talked about this too, and even me as a fucking commie or whatever the fuck, like I don't think people, especially where I live in New York, like those people who do that type of ranching and like farming are like largely forgotten about, or like get no, like they like they're like a huge part of our fucking
fly over America for a reason.
Yeah. They're a huge part of our country just operating. So I like Taylor Sheridan does a great job of shedding light on many different things, and so
without all those farmers, you would probably die, man.
Yeah, I know.
All the food in New York gets shipped in.
I know. So I could see this show going in that direction, at least from the first episode. But yeah, first episode, I thought it was really good. I'm excited for it. I know the second episode came out couple hours ago as of this recording, so I'll probably check that out a little bit later. Did you watch it yet or no?
Same. I have not watched it yet. No, I was doing news and stuff.
Cool. And Marvin, anything from you this week? You watch anything?
I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched a single thing.
Marvin's in shambles. I haven't watched a single thing.
Time to uninstall Tarkov.
Yeah.
What's going on in the news this week, Dusty? Anything good?
Well, let's see. There's a couple things, not a whole lot. I'm going to talk about, since I was just recently, I didn't talk about this at all. I went to Disneyland. I guess I said before I was going on my trip, or maybe while we recorded. I don't remember. Went to Disneyland. It was a pretty cool experience. It was a 100-year anniversary. Anywho, it being the 100-year anniversary, Mickey Mouse entered the public domain. I think it's 95 years for public domain. Did you guys see some of the stuff that some of the companies were doing with Mickey Mouse? Did you see the Cartoon Network thing?
No, did Disney announce that he's Puerto Rican now?
No. Well, it's not. Mickey Mouse himself isn't completely in the public domain. Basically, the cartoon Steamboat Willie, and I think there's another one, something Groucho. Something Groucho, another Mickey cartoon. Though they're in public domain now, but Cartoon Network had like a GIF, and it was just Mickey humping the words "public domain, bitch."
That was Adult Swim,
specifically,
Adult Swim, but that is.
Oh, that was Adult Swim. Yeah. Well, it isn't adults. Okay.
It is part of Cartoon Network. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They had a GIF humping the letters "public domain, bitch." And he's one of the first big characters that's going to be public domain. I guess Pluto and Donald Duck are coming up pretty soon, but other big characters coming up in public domain pretty soon. The Hobbit characters are going to be 2033. Superman and James Bond, 2034, public domain. Now, obviously, Warner Brothers has the quote-unquote S trademarked and Man of Steel trademarked, but Superman himself as his earliest encounter will be public domain. And then you have Batman 2035, Joker and Captain America 2036, and Wonder Woman 2037. So all these characters are going to be public domain soon. We could have a logo right now with Mickey Mouse on it if we wanted to, and Disney couldn't do shit all about it.
Yeah, but I think
we should make some hats.
Things generally go public domain when they have like a cultural impact, right? Like that's usually what happens.
No, I think it's 90. There's a time frame.
Oh, is there an actual time frame?
The first issue or instance of that character when they become public domain.
Oh, wow.
If the company, I think the company has to continue filing trademarks, but they can only file so many, and then it runs out. So some other stuff might have become public domain earlier because the company just didn't give a shit.
Well, let's see. So as examples, the works of William Shakespeare, Ludwig von Beethoven, Miguel de Cervantes, Zoroaster, Laozi, Confucius, Aristotle, Leonardo da Vinci, yada, 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 are in public domain either by virtue of their having been created before copyright existed or by their copyright term having expired. Some works are not covered by a country's copyright laws and are therefore in the public domain. For example, in the United States, items excluded from copyright include the formula of Newtonian physics and cooking recipes. Other works are actively dedicated by their authors to the public domain. Examples include reference implementations of cryptographic algorithms and the image processing.
The Linux kernel. Open source software.
Okay. So you're saying basically the copyright, the intellectual property is just expired. There's like a limit on it. Okay.
So they're pissed.
So we could do like a Steamboat Willie style Mickey Mouse shirt with harsh language on it, and Disney couldn't do fuck all about it.
Yeah, maybe I'll make one.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, we got some characters coming up in the next decade or so that we could do some stuff with too. And actually, that's why that Winnie the Pooh horror movie, they did that because Winnie the Pooh became public domain. And so they made, and there's actually a Mickey Mouse horror film that's coming out. And I think a Mickey Mouse video game that's coming out, like a violent shooter. So yeah, people have already started like prepping for, Steamboat Willie being public domain. This is a huge deal.
That's pretty funny.
Wow, that is funny. They're pissed. Disney's got to be pissed. They can't do anything about it now, though.
Nope.
Wow, crazy.
Which they still like, they still have some of the stuff to Mickey Mouse trademark. Like you can't do it all. But Steamboat Willie and that stuff is.
Well, the other thing too, I think, and I'm not a copyright fucking law expert, but I think sometimes things are wrapped up in other fucking copywritten things too, like. Like Mickey Mouse, the image might be public domain in the name, but it doesn't mean that like he could be used in anything. Right. You know what I mean? There's other ways to do it, like likenesses or whatever. I don't know.
yes, they still have some of the rights to some of the things that belong to Mickey Mouse. So you have to be careful for sure.
Right.
Anyhow, on to WB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of WB news. Denise Dune movie is heading back to IMAX January 24th for a one-night event. That's this Wednesday with a sneak peek of the sequel. So if that movie came out on Max, so most people watched it at home.
Dune?
And if you didn't, Dune, the first Dune movie.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get a chance to see that and you want to go see it in IMAX, this movie's amazing. Sounds amazing. It'll be a good chance to do it. And David Lynch's Dune is also coming back.
Oh, wow.
February 18th, 19th, two-night event for the 40th year anniversary. So if you want to go see the OG one, which I think David Lynch has abandoned, he's not proud of it. Consider it.
I'm not proud of it either.
Yeah, it's I like it. It's got some nostalgia for me, but anywho, production for The Batman sequel starts in August.
Yeah,
let's go.
That was delayed by the strike and everything. Still believe October 3rd, 2025 release date is what they're shooting for that one.
Damn.
And then for the final piece of WB news, they are in the lead to acquire 28 years later from Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, according to our boy Jeff Snyder. They're shopping that movie around for distributors. And,
you mean movies?
28 years later, they're going to make sequels?
No, 28 years later is supposed to be a trilogy.
Oh, it's a trilogy. Oh, okay.
Don't know why they're making a trilogy within a trilogy, but that's what they're doing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
The third movie of a trilogy is going to be 3 movies. So, okay.
Nah, that should be illegal. That's not right.
It's like, just make a show at that point, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that mentality soon. But go ahead. Yeah. I got something to say.
Okay. Well, that's basically all the WB news I have, except for I think Zaslav and still in talks with Paramount merger, but nothing new on that per se.
I have a bit of WB news. It's not really news. These you guys know that I'm like embroiled in like the Zack Snyder fandom and like stuff on Twitter arguments.
Oh yeah.
These motherfuckers are convinced that Netflix is going to purchase the rights to Zack Snyder's DCEU or whatever, and that WB is actually going to like sell it to Netflix. And we're like,
make it an Elseworld and let them run with it.
Yeah, but I think it's because like clearly WB is like, so part of the rumor mill is like, because WB is in fact licensing out their stuff as you've reported on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you fucking think they're just gonna like give Netflix the rights to their biggest fucking characters, you're on crack, dude. Like, what are you talking about? You think they're gonna sell? Yeah, Netflix go like they think it's gonna be like some sort of like Marvel and Sony deal, like the way Spider-Man is. Like, that's not gonna happen, dude. Like, get over it. The Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League is over. Go watch fucking Rebel Moon and read his Rebel Moon comic books and shit.
Yeah. Aquaman is the last movie in the line.
I saw a tweet about like, cause so Todd McFarlane has McFarlane Toys, right? Which is like one of the biggest fucking toy companies on the planet. And whenever they do a run of anything, it sells out. Well, they did like a Zack Snyder's Batman, like the Ben Affleck Batman. And it like sold out instantly. And they're like, see, people fucking still want Zack Snyder's shit. It's like, no, dick. It's fucking Batman. And it's fucking McFarlane Toys. Like, everything they make is going to sell out. They can make a toy of me and it'll sell out. So, anyhow.
I'd buy the toy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they could do Adam's Batman and it would sell out probably faster than Snyder's Batman.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of...
That's silly.
Speaking of him, Todd McFarlane, I saw recently fucking what's his name from Blumhouse said something about the Spawn movie and he's like, oh yeah, it's coming along good. Like, it's going to be what you could expect from Blumhouse, this, that, and the other thing. Oh, I can't wait for that fucking movie, dude.
Yep. On to Disney. We're just under actually 3 weeks from the Deadpool 3 trailer.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
So yeah, what was the date? I totally did not write it down. I don't know. I know when I read it was 3 weeks away when I read it the other day, so we're just under 3 weeks. So yeah, we're still. I'll have the date on it next week.
Did you see they teased like Wolverine's mask?
I saw like samurai fucking Deadpool without a mask, but I did not see. I know they're gonna do true to the comics, but I've not seen a lot of the. I have not seen all of them. I've seen some of the teaser stuff, but anywho.
Did you guys see? There was a tweet of Hugh Jackman working out, just doing like some bicep workouts on whatever, and there's a bunch of quote tweets about like how, basically Hollywood's forcing these actors to take all these fucking supplements and stuff to get jacked. Mm-hmm. And they're like, poor Hugh Jackman is just a fucking theater kid, but he's having to do a strict diet and fucking take all these supplements for a fucking silly superhero movie.
I don't know if he takes supplements.
I just thought that was funny.
He might. He probably does.
He definitely does.
I saw him talk about his diet and stuff. No, well, he says he just eats like a lot of chicken and rice. He's like, it's boring as fuck.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he juices. I don't know. The mask, by the way, there was no official like reveal of the mask. There was like some promo stuff that people came across that I don't know. But yeah, that's cool that the trailer's coming soon. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, there's promo art for Superman Legacy suit too, but it's just promo art, so not really. Yeah. Okay. Deadline's Justin Kroll via Twitter or X stated that Marvel Studios will not drop the Kang character from the MCU, despite player reports that may happen and they may bring on a new baddie. Majors will obviously be replaced.
They should get that cyborg guy from Zack Snyder's movies to.
That's one of the names. Well,
that dude's the worst actor.
John Boyega and John David Washington are also in the rumor mix.
It can't be John David Washington.
Stop it, please stop it.
Cannot be him.
As Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo's up there in the list too. Which I think
they should get Jamie Foxx.
Who am I? I'm John David Washington.
God. I would like Boyega. He's good.
John Boyega got fucking... That dude... I feel bad for that guy. I just saw actually like a tweet about this. There's a video of him when the trailer for Force Awakens first came out, where he's watching the trailer for the first time with his family. And that trailer ends, the first teaser for Force Awakens ends with him fighting Kylo in the woods.
Oh,
when he has the blue lightsaber, right? It's that scene from the movie. And it's like the significance of a black man with a fucking lightsaber, like, it's huge because Star Wars, like, like Lando was like the guy, but like a black Jedi, like, and again, who's not Samuel L. Jackson, it would have just been like very significant. Yeah, but Samuel L. Jackson wasn't really that big of a character. Like, he spent most of those movies
a purple lightsaber
sitting in a fucking room, right?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, he didn't do a lot in those movies, really. I mean, he's not... It wouldn't have been like the way that this, I think, was meant to go, and there's like little sprinklings of it throughout this new trilogy, was that like John Boyega was Finn was supposed to be Force sensitive, I think. But apparently... So anyway, there's a video of him like with his family, and they're like freaking the fuck out that he's got like a lightsaber and shit. And then like the next movie comes out, and like Rian Johnson was just like, yeah, nah, fuck that guy. Like, that character's just gonna not do anything now.
Yeah,
it's so fucked up.
Fall in love with Rose,
and he's a great actor, obviously, because we loved him in fucking They Clone Tyrone.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they could replace Kang with anybody, at this point, because it's just
really,
it's a very no, fuck Will Smith.
Nah.
It's a variant.
Anybody.
Yeah, but why is that? That guy shouldn't have a career anymore. Like, this guy's smacking people and like doing weird shit. Like, you need to take a break, bro. Like, you've Go sit down.
Yeah.
Maybe Jamie Foxx can be Kang. That would be.
He can.
Funny.
He's busy playing fucking Spawn.
Give us some comedy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I think John Boyega would actually be a good Kang.
I think he would because
he could be. Yeah.
He's got a good stone cold face. You know
He
what I'm
does,
saying? Like
yeah.
a serious face.
He does.
When he was playing that drug dealer, yeah. He was got a good serious
totally.
face.
All right. Well, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, that's but again, that's according to I think that's Justin Kroll. Yeah. All right. But I think he might have been reporting from John Snyder. I don't know. So you know how the rumors get around. Yep. Anywho, Star Wars, more Star Wars news. Mandalorian season 4 is getting ramped up. The script was obviously done before the strike, but the strike delayed everything. But they also announced that we're getting a Mandalorian Grogu movie.
I was just gonna say
about that.
Yeah, I did. Why?
Heard about it. Yep.
John Favreau's directing it. Well, he wants this to be
everything.
This is what he called it. An era-defining story for the franchise.
What does that mean? He basically
said, okay, so there's all these small stories, and then there's the big story, like Empire Strikes Back or, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
We're telling all these small stories, but we need a big, big story of the day. We need a big fight, big baddie, big good guy.
Right.
I thought they were doing that with
and this
Admiral
is going to be
Thrawn.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. This movie is probably going to come out after that. He's still doing all this stuff.
Well,
and
actually, I'm sorry. This takes place.
This is going to be Grogu. This is going to be Grogu and Mandalorian movies. So
yeah,
they're going to be the two big characters in the era-defining story. So I hope you like the characters.
They're going to define the era.
They're coming,
Dan.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Speaking of Mandalorian, I was driving and I saw what I assume is a mom in a minivan with the Mom DeLorean sticker on the back of her car. I thought that was funny.
Mom DeLorean?
Yeah. I wanted to throw an egg at her car, but
that is pretty funny.
When you said Mom DeLorean, I was thinking like a Back to the Future style DeLorean or something. Like they're not Mandalorian.
A Mom DeLorean, yeah.
Back to the Future. You think they should remake that trilogy?
No.
No.
It's coming. It's already in the works.
Yeah. Anywho, speaking of Star Wars news, we got some good one. We can get behind. Andor Season 2 is about to wrap production. This thing was, I think, a week away when the strike happened. So we were supposed to get it, I believe, this fall sometime, but it's going to keep us waiting. A lengthy post-production is going to keep us waiting until next year sometime in 2025.
Okay.
Which sucks, but they wrap production on Andor Season 2, so we get that to look forward to coming up in the not too distant future. Then going back to our boy Jeff Snyder, he's reporting that Sean Levy's announced Star Wars project could involve Rey Skywalker in some capacity. There's already a Rey movie in the works. It's written by the Peaky Blinders creator Stephen Knight. Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, who did Miss Marvel, is directing it. But yeah, there's another Sean. The Sean Levy Star Wars movie was announced in November, and he confirmed it. It does not have a date. It does not have a time frame. It does not have a name even.
Right.
But Jeff Snyder is reporting that Rey may play some capacity in the movie. This guy's an industry insider reporting on rumors. Who fucking knows if he's telling us the truth or not?
That's like the opposite of exciting, though. So. That's cool.
Yeah. And then finally, the last thing in Disney news, Noah Hawley was talking about his FX Alien show. This is going to be a recurring series with a definitive ending. He likes having an ending in sight. He talked about how he did this with Legion. He said it could have been 3 to 5 seasons, depending on how the studio wants to do it, but definitely have an ending in mind when you do it. You can leave a little bit open to, mold or modify.
Which is
if
interesting.
You want to run it for an extra season.
Interesting, considering Fargo is an anthology.
Yeah. Well, he said they didn't pitch a Bible. They pitched big picture, like this is the first movement. This is the second movement. This is where we're ultimately going to end. If you want a fourth and a fifth in there, we can make that happen. But a story needs an end.
Yeah.
And expect that, I think, sometime in the first half of 2025, thanks to the strike, delays.
Are they bringing back Ripley?
He is not. No, his has nothing to do with. I think his takes place before Ripley was even alive.
Oh, right. This show's a prequel, right?
Yeah, this is a prequel show.
More prequels. Is this after Prometheus? Is Prometheus part of the canon?
That's a good question. I don't know all the answers to that. We'll find out when it comes out, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I've been reading some of the Alien comics that Marvel's putting out, and they're all right. There's some interesting stories in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all for Disney. On to the etc. news. We got a few things here. Chad Stahelski, the director of all 4 John Wick movies, is being given creative control of Lionsgate's Highlander franchise. He's also still assuming creative oversight of the John Wick franchise films across, obviously, film, television, and multimedia platforms. So Chad Stahelski, who was a stuntman, did the John Wick movies, and they blew up. He's given creative control. I actually like this. I wish he would get away from some of the gunplay. Like the John Wick movies were good, but the stories, they're kind of simple.
Well, he did the original John Wick, right? He was the stunt coordinator
he did all
on
4 of
Matrix.
them. Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then he did the movie Atomic Blonde. That was a good movie.
Right.
I think that was him. I'm not sure. Could have been the other guy.
Yeah. Well, he did all 4 John Wick movies. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, Swords, I think, I want to see what he does with Swords, because the John Wick movies, while they were good, I felt they got a little kind of repetitive, because it's just you're just watching the cool gunplay, and that just gets old. Give me a story with some swords and some beheadings. There can be only one. So I'm happy about this news.
Well, I told you, what's his name playing Henry Cavill or something? Isn't he in Highlander or something? Didn't he get cast? Or something?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, I think it's Cavill. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I told you when I did that run of John Wick movies, by the 3rd movie, you're just like, all right, already, like enough.
Yeah, it's because it's just all gunplay. I mean, there's some other fights. You get a little bit of hand-to-hand, but I think, like, if he does... And he's going to continue the John Wick stuff. Like, he's doing, the offshoot show, which I have not watched. I don't even know if it's out or not. That's how much I don't really care about the John Wick universe.
Yeah. But
But I am interested in his high take on Highlander. We'll see how that goes. No, is it Jake Gyllenhaal that's doing it, or is it
no, I
Henry
think it is.
Cavill?
I think it's Cavill.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of McFarlane, he says Spawn will not be a Marvel light. He's excited with what Scott Silver has been working on. Scott Silver obviously did the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Scott was saying that it was Scott he was quoting that said he didn't want a Marvel light movie. He wants to make a dangerous film, in that not a film that has danger in it, but a film that doesn't follow the natural threads of the hero genre or the superhero genre that we get in movies today. So whatever that fucking means. McFarlane says different is good. I'm willing to try it. If the fans like it, they're the consumer. So we'll see.
I thought he was writing it.
McFarlane?
Yeah.
Well, I think he may have wrote the script, but Scott Silver is running the show for him.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll
whatever.
have some more details for you next time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's not a hero, so yeah, I don't.
Well, anti-hero. Yeah, but yeah, hero, anti-hero genre. You know what I mean? The superhero films is what they're saying. This is going to be a dangerous film, because it's not going to be this isn't going to be a Captain America film where, except he's an anti-hero. This is going to be something completely different and
what
dangerous.
He means by dangerous is that it's dangerous for him and the movie itself to be a bomb, because we live in an era where, like, people go to the movies to see a comic book film and they expect something that's very cookie cutter. Spawn is not a cookie cutter character by any stretch. So, yeah, no, they stand to make a dangerous
I mean, if they do
film,
something
for sure.
close to Punisher, I'll be kind of happy.
It's not even really Spawn either. Like, Spawn's a thing of his own.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. Yeah, he's totally different, and I'm looking forward to it. But.
I mean, from his early descriptions of it, Todd McFarlane was saying that, like, it would be very akin to the HBO animated show, which I thought was great. If it was like that, that'd be great. It was supposed to be about Sam and Twitch solving a murder, and Spawn being like very much like a background character, the way he is in that in the comic books and in the cartoon. Like, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. The first season has come to its conclusion. Has not yet been renewed.
Hey, we're getting 17 new seasons.
Chris Black remains optimistic and notes that there's more story to tell. I don't think we'll get 17 seasons. I don't know how long the MonsterVerse wants to drag it out, but I think they'll do 2 or 3 more seasons, maybe. I mean, the MonsterVerse is getting big, and I'm kind of liking where the MonsterVerse is going. I don't know.
You do like it or you don't?
Kong. I mean, I like where it's gone thus far.
But
it feels like they're getting into like that Transformers territory where it's like, okay, I mean, now we're just Transformers fighting a moon that turns into a robot. Like, how crazy can we get?
Right.
So
Expendables.
But this was this was telling the old story, bringing it up to the new. So of Monarch, which I thought, which is why I like the show, because it's more about the the agency itself than the monsters. But monsters are a big part of it.
No, I haven't gotten around to it yet. I want to watch it though.
Okay. And then Taylor Sheridan is set to direct an adaptation of Empires of the Summer Moon. Did you see this, Dan?
No, I didn't.
It's a story that follows the historical account of the 4-decade struggle between the Comanche tribe and white settlers to control the American West. That's a best-selling book, I guess.
Oh, shit.
And he is taking on the reins to do it. Like we said, he likes telling the Native American stories of the Americas, so this is right up his alley.
And this is an adaptation of a book? This is going to be,
Empire of the Summer Moon.
Yeah, stunning historical account of the 40-year battle for control over the American West. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. That's Comanche.
That's got his name all over it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Yeah.
Did you watch Bass Reeves? Is it out, right? It's been out.
I did watch it, yeah. It's
it
out
good?
And over. Yeah. It's interesting. It's worth it's not great, but it's good.
Okay.
I mean, if you like Taylor Sheridan stuff, you'll enjoy it, but there's, it's good.
You liked the other one, right? The one with
the
CIA agent or whatever, FBI agents. The one with
Lioness. Yeah, Special Ops. Yeah, it was good. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's, entertaining enough for me to sit through it. Yeah.
I got to get on that too. Bigly.
Mm-hmm. And then I didn't really have a segue, but I guess we could talk about it. We posted last week, Paul Giamatti. He was at the Golden Globes with his Golden Globe. He went to In-N-Out with the Golden Globe, which is sitting there, and somebody sniped a picture of it. Well, this week he was at the Critics' Choice Award, and he's like, man, I didn't know I could have a better week than going viral by eating a cheeseburger. But thanks, guys, as he was there with his Critics' Choice Award. And, of course, he had that Critics' Choice Award for the movie that we're talking about here, The Holdovers. It's won several awards. I think if you look at IMDb right now, updated, they say nominated for 7 BAFTA awards, 91 wins, and 179 nominations totals. Now, I don't know how many of these award ceremonies aren't done yet, so it could continue to rack up more. It might have 100-plus awards, but like Dan said, this might be his favorite movie of the year because it's a good movie and it's getting its accolades. So Paul Giamatti does it again. Another stellar fucking performance.
Yeah. So let's get into it. The Holdovers. I think this might be one of my favorite movies of 2023 for sure. And if you miss how they used to make films in the 1970s, then this is the movie for you, I think. Because, a lot of the stuff we talk about here on the show is like nerd culture shit with like movies and stuff, and it's like a lot of comic book. But the industry is like dominated by that shit, right?
Right.
The movie industry is dominated by fucking franchises and like the next franchise and the next fucking universe and this and that. And it's like, this is just like a very simple and like, it's just I found it to be very refreshing. Like almost like I forgot what real movies were like, actually.
Yeah. This movie's like an instant timeless movie. Like it's got that.
This had a real Dead Poet Society feel for me, Dan.
Harold and Maude more for me.
Actually that's I see that.
But we don't like when we do like Make Marvin Watch stuff, they're always like generally those types of movies, like the all-time
for sure.
greats, right? So, but when it comes to new stuff, like you very rarely get something like this. And if you do get something similar to this, it's usually like a nostalgia bait, like watered down version of better movies. For instance, Dusty just mentioned The Joker a few minutes ago. That's like a fucking, watered down version of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. So, this felt like this was just finally like a good fucking movie. I feel like that you don't really get too much of these days. Obviously the story is not like a huge breakthrough idea, but it was heartfelt and like pretty real, I thought.
The chemistry between those three was amazing.
So this was directed by Alexander Payne. This guy, you let this guy cook, he's gonna cook. He didn't write this one in particular, but he's worked with Paul Giamatti in the past in a movie called Sideways, which is amazing. And
Paul got snubbed on that one.
Yeah.
Who won it that year? Oh my gosh.
I don't
2004.
recall. But this is a simple story. This is about a cranky history teacher who works at a remote prep school, and he's forced to remain on campus over the holiday break with a few students, which turns into one student, and a grieving cook. And that's basically the story. And it's really just about people really just like learning to be not even learning. It's just people sort of like empathizing with one another. I don't really know how to explain it.
This is just people beginning to realize that because we all have this is a really good movie that tells we all have our biases and our prejudices.
Yeah.
And when you get to know somebody who you may have a bias or prejudice against, you soon learn to realize that they're just a person too, just like you, and you can actually relate to them more than you would think if you would just not be so fucking, stubborn all the time with your biases and prejudices. I really,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like you're saying like I keep wanting to say like people learning to be a certain way, but I don't know if it was really that because they all sort of had those tendencies to begin with. For instance, Paul Giamatti, like his character Paul Hunnam, like he's a cranky old dude whose life probably didn't go the way he wanted it to because he clearly is like his character's definitely like sort of like was always, you get the sense that he was like scared to take the next step, so he kind of like reverted to what he knew. He's been working at this school that he himself went to as a child, and he says it feels like home. Like he just kind of stays with what he knows and really doesn't like branch out. Which is why the chemistry with Angus, played by Dominic Sessa, is so good, because Angus is sort of like, he's like full of life and like wanting to like do shit and whatever, and he's like kind of forcing Paul's hand to like do different things and like be adventurous and whatnot. But both of them are like pretty nice people, right? Like they're not scumbags. Like this is not a movie about like a character learning to like accept somebody for who, like they're just nice people, really, is what it is. Like Paul Giamatti, he's again a little bit cranky and a little bit set in his ways, but he's still a nice guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
he comes across as a fair person, obviously stubborn and cranky, but seems to be fair.
Well, he has like a reasonable gripe too. Like his gripe is with these kids. He works at a fucking boarding school, really. Not a boarding school, prep school, which is for rich people. He himself went there, so he knows what it's like and his upbringing. And he's like, these rich kids, they don't fucking appreciate anything. And there's the one scene where they first sit down to have dinner, and that one kid says something like pretty shitty about Mary, and he like fucking slams his things like, would you shut, like he has like morals, like he's a good guy, he's not a piece of shit, he's not a racist. This is the 1970s, like during the fucking so it's like he's not that. And Angus he's presented as like a troubled teen, but he's not troubled at all. Like he just like he's
been
had
through some shit.
Yeah, he's had a trauma and doesn't really have like a support system that he needs.
Yeah, he's a
Worst mother ever.
neglected teen.
Yeah.
His parents sent him off to boarding school, and rather than be able to go home and spend time with his family, she would rather run off with her new boyfriend and go on a holiday and leave him to fuck off at prep school. Like he's just neglected is what it is.
And they don't give her enough like credit, I don't think, or enough they don't give her enough of like a story, the mother, which I guess she doesn't really need one, but like, you know, what happened to his dad and her husband like is traumatic for both of them. So yeah, this
For
is
sure.
So, you know, she's like neglecting him, but also she's doing it because she needs her own like healing. Clearly not going about it the right way. So, but yeah, so he's not a bad kid, and you see the way he acts like towards the Vietnamese student who like he was crying and wet the bed or whatever. Like he was nice to him, and he was nice to the other kids. Like he had a little bit of beef with the one guy, but that guy was a piece of shit, Teddy. So Angus is a nice guy, Paul's a nice guy, and then Mary, like she's just also nice, and she's just like, you know, she lost her son in Vietnam, so she's like a grieving mother.
Mm-hmm.
So like none of the characters were like, I don't know, none of the characters. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say they do all have the one thing in common, which is like they're all kind of alone. Like they share that kind of bond of loneliness because, like, the teacher, we don't really get much besides the fact that he is pretty much alone. He's not married, no kids.
Mm-hmm.
The kids basically abandoned, neglected, like you guys are saying, and the cook lost her son, and I'm not sure if they said what happened to her husband or
they never mentioned him,
the father, but yeah,
no.
But yeah, so I guess the point I was trying to make is that the characters in stories like these usually are like, it's like they're very like cookie cutter. It's like one person, like they go from point A to B of like who they are as people. That didn't really happen in this movie that much or at all, I don't think. Like they were just always one way, and it was just a bunch of people like it's hard.
It was a much more subtle change than like something drastic shifting in their
it wasn't
life or
it
whatever.
It wasn't like Paul was racist and then like learned to fucking like care about fucking black people, or like the kid was like a fucking dickhead and then like learned to be good. It wasn't like that at all. Like a lot of movies similar to this are. They were just all very good people who like were with each other and like helped each other out in like this very small brief period of time, like where they and that's basically what it was. Very simple story.
Well, I think there is an overall message towards the end of it that doesn't really hit with kids because they don't really understand that this takes place during the Vietnam War,
right?
Where like he makes the sacrifice to take the blame because the kid such that the kid doesn't have to go to military school because he knows what that means. We all are supposed to know what that means because of what happened to Mary's son. Because it's basically you're getting drafted. There's no fucking way around it. This is the Vietnam War. Like you're fucking dying. You're probably not coming back. And like I'll fucking lose my job to fucking take the blame so this kid can fucking stay in the school and not go to fucking Vietnam. And is a message that's going to hit a lot differently for anybody that's 40 or 50 or older than anybody that's younger than that.
Is that how you took it? I didn't really take it that way. I mean, I guess it definitely makes sense, right? Because Mary's kid died in Vietnam, but I didn't really take it that way because just because you go to military school does not mean you're in the military. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're going to military preparatory school. You're going to the military.
It's like a path. It's like the pathway.
It's a path to it, yeah, for sure.
This is not, and this is when you get drafted. There was no.
No, I understand.
The draft dodging was for college kids and military prep schools. I do not think were draft dodgeable. Like you're in there to become a military person.
Totally. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't actually see it that way. I mean, I guess I missed it.
That's what I said. Anybody 40 or up is going to kind of see that, but it's going to hit different for you guys that didn't really grow up in that or have uncles or grandpas that run that shit.
My grandfather was in World War II, bro. What are you talking about? I'm not fucking 10 years old. Like, I don't know what, like, you don't know war. It's like, what?
Well,
my grandfather fucking lied about his age so he could go to World War II.
yeah.
Because he was too young at the time and he wanted to go fight.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Dang.
yeah, no, I guess maybe I missed that. That totally makes perfect sense. I saw it more of like he was just like
He became like a dad to this kid.
not even.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he did, but
I
yeah,
think
but,
kinda, yeah.
No, he definitely did. I just think it was more of
Well,
like
he saw that this kid was neglected. Like his mom would rather go on a date with her boyfriend, and like he kind of became a guy that this kid needed some attention. He's acting out because he's being left alone, and he has no, like Dan said, there's no support to fall back onto. And I think Paul's character obviously sort of slowly learns that, and that's why he gives him some grace and takes the fall for the mistakes that were not his own.
yeah. I think too is like he probably obviously knew he was going to get fired and like he needed that in his own life. He needed
Sure.
to be like forced out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty telling. The scene where he runs into one of his old Harvard classmates, and the guy was like, "Oh,
yeah.
I'm glad to see you landed on your feet," and he like lied about his whole thing. And it's like, you know, almost like the Walter White thing, right? Where like he's embarrassed about like where his life has gone compared to the other person, which was stupid.
Yep.
Because obviously he's a successful individual. He just chose to like stay in this thing that he knew. But yeah, either way, I don't know. It just was a very simple, like nice thing to watch. In fact, I actually got choked up a lot of times in the movie for no particular reason whatsoever. There's nothing really sad in the movie. Like obviously, you know, her situation is sad. Mary's, she's played by Divine Joy Randolph, by the way, who was brilliant.
Yep.
She like her story is sad, but there's not a lot of like sadness in the movie. I don't think. Like, I never really got that sense that it's like it's where it's like there's sad things happening. Like,
Not really.
yeah, the kid's like experience is kind of sad. His dad fucking freaked the fuck out or whatever, had like a mental breakdown, and it is what it is. His mom kind of sucks. That's sad, but there's never like sadness that you would cry. You know, she has a bit of a breakdown at the Christmas party because her son dead, and it's the first Christmas that she's having without him. That's sad, but that's not there's nothing basically in this movie that evoked crying in me. But I was crying because of just the sentimentality of the movie and of the story and the just between the characters, like, which is kind of sad in that those. The things that are showcased in this movie are actually like missing from like life, I feel like. So that was kind of like a standout to me, is that like just being nice to people is like a rare commodity these days. It kind of feels like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you live online and you know you spend a lot of time online. It's so yeah, I don't know. That was the thing.
Yeah. I really felt for the teacher at the Christmas party when he was like, you know, he was kind of vibing with the other teacher lady.
Yeah.
And, you know, but then her boyfriend opens the door and it's like, oh, fuck. Because it kind of felt like he was kind of like, you know, there was going to be like a little something there. And then it's just... No,
well,
she was just being nice.
But that's the thing. I didn't even take it as a sad thing, right?
It wasn't.
Like,
I mean, it wasn't. But you know, you feel for him a little bit.
A little bit.
I think there's a little more despair than sadness, which despair can be construed as sadness, but like oh fuck, this happened, or oh fuck, this is gonna happen, or oh fuck, I have to do this. Like,
I wouldn't call it despair or sadness. I would call it disappointment. Like, clearly he was disappointed because he's like, oh yeah, we kind of like get along, but. Like, who's to say just because two people get along doesn't mean there has to be like a romantic connection? You know what I mean? I think that's something that is missing from our society of like,
for sure.
Like men and women can't be friends because there's always, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
just because you have something in common with somebody or just because you get along with somebody does not mean you need to, like, you should pursue a romantic thing there. So while he was disappointed, I didn't take it as sad at all. It was just like, oh wow, like this is a person he's never
I didn't
really
either. I just said I
to.
felt for him.
Yeah. But that's one of the things I thought that was cool about the movie is because the movie is just about kindness. Like she was kind to him and he was like in turn being kind, like, oh wow, like I didn't really ever talk to this person before, but she's really cool. So that's kind of how
she was human nature.
He actually thought she was annoying at the beginning, and she brought him cookies, and he was like annoyed and all that. So yeah.
So that's the thing is like there's just a kindness to this movie, and I guess that's why I got a little teary-eyed throughout it. Like again, there's nothing really sad that happens for me anyway. It was just more of that of like, you know, people just having compassion for one another and the hardships that they've been through. That shouldn't feel rare, but it does for me at least.
Yes. Well, division and vitriol is becoming more commonplace. I feel like this is social media fucking rots out the core of society, but
definitely. And I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was just gonna say with like just the overall theme of the movie. Did you guys think that the kids were going to leave, or did you think it was gonna be like the group of kids for the entire duration?
What do you mean?
And not just the one. Well, because there was like 3 or 4 kids at first, and then the 3
right, and they all got to
they
go
left to go to the skiing trip. Yeah, so
I didn't even really think about it, to be honest.
It wasn't even a. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, for a second, I maybe thought like they're all gonna like this is gonna change scenes, and they're gonna leave the school, and they're all gonna go. But then it was like, oh no, he got stuck behind, so they both had to stay behind, and so this is going in a different direction. So yeah, I mean, I thought possibly I thought it was just gonna be a scenery change thing, and we're gonna continue the story. So yeah, I mean,
that was like the shift. Like I felt like up until then, I thought it was gonna be more of a comedy, and then after that, where it wasn't really, it was more of the drama than the comedy.
Yeah,
like
it was more feel good, light humor. What shenanigans are gonna happen next, and then you get down to it's just them, and this is like the realness of the feelings of what's going on.
It's definitely not
the world that the director built here, though. Like it felt a little slow, I guess, at first, but it paid off for sure.
I mean, yeah, it did. I don't think it needed to be 2 hours and 15 minutes long, but I'm on the stop it with the 2-hour movies, please.
Yeah, but you guys are a little bit fucking crazy about shit like that. Like, this is a great story that I didn't feel the time.
Oh, it is. No, it is.
Like,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, I get the criticism
I'm
of like
at half a point for the time, but that's it.
Of course, it doesn't have to be 2 hours and 3, however long it was. But like, it's not. It didn't. I don't think it affected the movie in a negative way. Like, this is a character story. Like, this is like what good writing is. This is what I'm trying to say. Is like this is missing from movies nowadays. Like, you don't get this shit. It's all superficial bullshit and CGI and like fucking big explosions and universes and that. Like, this is just a movie about people, and that's beautiful. And like, time doesn't fucking matter in a movie like this.
I'd have to be very nitpicky about how you would cut half an hour out of this movie. Like, I would be like, I mean, I can kind of see why they left that in there, but maybe cut out 30 seconds here, 20 seconds there.
Yeah,
a minute here. You can get 30 minutes out of there, man. Come on.
And this isn't like you guys mentioned like comedy or whatever. I know it's billed as a comedy. It's certainly not laugh out loud funny like you would like a comedy, but there were a lot of really funny moments in the movie. I thought I took some.
Yeah, there were.
And it's from Paul Giamatti specifically, like some of his dialogue that he had, when he says to the kid towards the end when they're at the fancy restaurant, and he's like, "Stand up for the lady, you bore, cretin." Like that, I thought was really a funny line. And then at the end, when he calls the principal, he says, "Your penis cancer in human form," as one of the funniest things I've ever heard as an insult. Thought that was great.
That's great.
So there were a lot of little funny things, but it's like subtly funny. I thought she was very funny too, Mary Lamb. Some of the stuff that like she was always hitting,
was amazing.
She was like always hitting him with the like the dissatisfied thing. So that was great. But yeah, I love this movie. And then by the end, like, I like it's a very non-traditional, I feel, story in the sense that like there is no like A to B or like go from being a piece of shit to a nice guy or whatever. It's like there's none of that. It's just like this thing happens and then it ends. Like I don't know. The movie just felt like very real to me. It didn't have like
a very real story.
It didn't have a very like a traditional like story in the sense of where like something, it was just like, it is what it is. Like they go back to like the way life is. He gets fucking fired for an obvious reason, and then like takes off, and like that's it, and, you know. So I really like that, and obviously,
it was just a series of events where you observe human understanding.
Yeah, you're just observing human
the right
behavior.
Thing to do.
Yeah, that's actually a great way to describe it. You're really just observing human behavior in this movie. And again, I think that's a rare gem in today's superficial gimmick fucking bullshit movie world that we live in. It was, you know, it was a very thoughtful movie, I thought, in that way. The directing was brilliant. I really liked it a lot.
Yep.
And it was
I
writing
love people
was great.
watching.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want to do it for 2.5 hours in a movie.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't really think about the time at all while I was watching it.
No, I didn't really either, but there were a couple scenes I felt a little bit boorish about, and I was like, okay. Because I knew that runtime before I started it, so I came in a little prejudiced. I need to start looking at runtimes, but it's hard when you press play and you see it.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to give a shit about that. Like, yeah, sometimes you feel it, like, you know, we talked about Rebel Moon last week, but that's a movie where it's like, it's big, it's punchy, it's action-packed. Like, you feel the length of a movie like that, especially when it's not good. This, I don't know. I was just like, oh, okay, well, I would have watched this for 4 hours. I wouldn't have noticed the time. So I was like genuinely interested in what was happening. But yeah, the cinematography also I want to talk about too is great. This movie felt like it was made in the 1970s. I mentioned that like a little bit earlier. If you missed the way movies were in the 70s, this takes place in the 70s, but it feels like it was made in the 70s. Which was awesome. Like, and not in the way They Clone Tyrone felt. Like, that was like a forceful, like purposeful, like artistic style.
Parody.
This just I don't know, just like felt like a 70s movie. Felt like an old movie.
It's very, super charming. I feel like that's hard to do.
Definitely.
Especially if you're like just worried about like the return on the, you know, like the money and stuff, like trying to make sales for the movie. Like, but if you're just, I mean, I don't know. It seems hard to make a movie like this in the current era.
Well, yeah, because the industry is not in this direction. The industry is about making billions and billions of dollars in franchises and this, that, and the other thing. So it's like
when
you
imagine something like this could get expensive too, to like you're creating set pieces and prop pieces and everything else, and you're going out in public and you're like, this is the 70s. We got to have 70s cars. We got to have 70s outfits. We got to have like that can get just as expensive almost as CGI is like trying to masterfully recreate some of that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know about getting close to what like a fucking production with like a ton of CGI, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, it made $26 million in theaters, so it's like that's not bad. That's a lot of money. I don't know what the budget is. I can't find it, but yeah, I don't know. I just little quiet, small, like thoughtful movies like this are getting more rare and rare, and it's like I literally almost forgot what it was like to watch a movie like this because, you know, I don't know, weird.
It's been a while.
Like I said, I'm really surprised they released this movie in the summer because it's definitely just like a perfect holiday movie.
Well, I mean, it is a Christmas movie. It came out in October in the U.S., August.
Oh, okay.
Elsewhere,
I think it released in the summer and maybe one of the festivals or something.
Yeah, I think that's when it started going around. It was in August.
Yeah, well, it might have hit, with theater release because it.
But it is like it's billed as a Christmas movie, I guess. Which that was a part of the movie. Like I didn't really, obviously it plays a part in the plot, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't consider this like a Christmas movie to me. Didn't have that type of feel to it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I thought it was, I really, really liked it. I thought it was amazing. The directing was brilliant. Cinematography was brilliant. The acting was brilliant. I think this is an Oscar-worthy movie, like across the board.
I mean, it's killing it at the awards.
Yeah, it's fucking like cleaning up.
7 BAFTAs. 91 awards so far out of 180 nominations.
Totally, I could totally see this like being Best Picture movie. Although I'm sure Oppenheimer is gonna win that. Maybe not. I don't know. I've been wrong before. We'll see.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, Oppenheimer is like the Oscar movie, I feel like. But I don't know. I would hope that this will probably take home some awards. I thought it was great. I thought everybody in it was great. This kid, this is his first film, I think, as far as I could tell. Dominic Sessa, he was fucking really good.
Yeah.
He kind of reminded me of like 80s John Cusack a little bit. In terms of the way he was like the way he was portraying the character. But yeah, I don't know. There's just a movie about like humanity kind of, and it was just like a very simple look at that, and I thought it was great and refreshing and very warm-hearted movie. I think that's the best way to describe it.
It's got a little bit of both. It's a little cold-hearted at times, and it's very warm-hearted at times. That's what I think makes it hit so well. Is you get the pendulum of the emotion of humanity. It's great in that aspect.
And while I don't think there was like an overall like message or meaning or anything, I guess if you wanted to put something on it, it's like kind of a reflection about like how people sort of get trapped in certain things, maybe traditions or habits or past circumstances and stuff like that. And how like the importance of like kind of trying to break out of that, especially with Paul Giamatti's character. He was like very trapped in like in that. Obviously grieving is a little bit different. That's something that's a little bit harder to sort of move on from. Like her fucking kid died. He lost his dad. He's not even 18 yet. Like they make a point to talk about that. And he was kind of just like dumped off at this fucking school by his mother. So yeah, I don't know. That'd be the thing. But, what else did I want to say? Is there anything else? No, I think that's it. I loved it. It's got an 8.0 on IMDb. Solid 8. I would bump that up. I would give this an 8.5, honestly, because, yeah, I just loved everything about it. I hope it gets remembered when the Oscars happen. So that's it. 8.0. I'm giving this an 8.5. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think I don't know what I would change about this movie. And at the same time, though, I don't know if I would give it like I don't know if I would give it like a 9 or anything, even though I don't see anything wrong with it, which makes me want to maybe reconsider how I do my rankings, but I don't know. I guess I would just give it an 8 too.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, I'm with Dan, and this is a wonderful story about compassion and understanding on the human spectrum, but I still think, I mean, I could have, you carve out 15, 20 minutes of it, and it's a lot more better movie for me, so I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Well, what do you cut from this?
It might be worthy, but I don't know. I'm going to have to go watch it again and tell you. I'm going to have to be a little bit more nitpicky because, like I said, there were a couple scenes where I was like, okay, well, what are we doing here? Now, like I said, I like people watching. I love doing that. Like, I could go sit on a park bench and watch people in a park for fucking hours. But, yeah, I mean, and to do it in a movie is a little bit different, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's a personal thing on me. I don't know.
Well, I didn't. I'm asking because I didn't feel like there was anything in the movie that was not necessary. Everything.
So I guess the way I look at it sometimes is like if I'm watching a movie, if I'm enthralled the entire time I'm watching the movie and I'm engrossed in what's happening. Yeah. I found myself a couple of times while I was watching this, even though while I was enjoying it, what was going on, I could pick up my phone and like scroll for 5, 10, 20, 30 seconds and get distracted for a minute and then put my phone back and go back to what I was doing. Like I did that one or two, maybe 2 or 3 times in this movie. So when I do that, I feel like it's running a little long for me. And that's how I judge a movie length. If you've got me from beginning to end and you're a 3-hour movie, I'll give you props and say it didn't need to be shorter. I liked it. But sometimes if I pick my phone up, I'm like, okay, well.
That's fair.
That's fair.
So yeah, I got to give it a half point tick. And my ratings, I don't go higher than 9. I don't think there's a 10 movie. 9 is like my peak movies are 9. So giving an 8 is a pretty tall order. So 7.5, I think, is pretty good review for me rating.
Yeah. the fact that, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, you can't really. It's hard to rate these types of movies, especially for me, if I don't see a problem with them. So I may even just give this like a 9, like, because if I can't find a problem with it,
that's respectable.
Like, I said, it was slow in the beginning, but for me, movies like this are always slow in the beginning until I get a feel for it and start enjoying it. So
it's definitely a slow movie, like that's for sure.
I mean, but it's supposed to be. You're supposed to watch it.
Yeah,
you're just, like I said, you're people watching. You're just taking in what's going, taking it all in, and it doesn't present anything in a way where it's, like you said, it's not supposed to be sad or like happy. Really, it's just up to you to kind of
like
decide
I said,
how you want to feel about it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's just weird. Like, these movies are rare, so I guess it's tough to sort of like talk about it like that, because
maybe it's a 10.
There's no, I mean, I do think it's like, it's very good. I mean, in every possible way. Like, I guess the way we rate things is different, and obviously rating is stupid, and that's part of the joke. But like,
yeah, that's why I just got really like stun locked trying to rate this movie, because
like, when
if I can't
do,
find an issue with the movie, like, shouldn't it just be a 10 at that point? Like,
it could be for you. I mean, the way
I don't know. It's just, yeah.
It could be a 10. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I think that's why, that's part of the joke about why we rate. Like, a rating is arbitrary. It's stupid. It makes no sense. Like, what?
Exactly.
Like, if you liked everything about it, if it has all the makings of a good thing, then yeah, shouldn't it be a 10? Like, what is that?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's like you're hesitant. Like, oh no.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. I mean, Paul Giamatti, this was like, I mean, listen, I'm not a fucking actor, but this was, for me, like a masterclass in like acting. And personally, like, I thought he was amazing in it. I thought Divine Joy Randolph was amazing in it. I thought the kid was amazing.
Did you guys watch Billions?
No.
Giamatti's amazing in that too.
Sure he is. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
You know, and her character was great too. You know, she, like, we didn't really talk too much about her other than the fact that she's not just a grieving mother. Like, that's, she is, but she plays a very important role to like Paul Giamatti's character, where she's like the one like kind of nudging him, like, dude, like, stop being such a fucking stop being such a fucking cranky bitch. Like, he's a kid. Like, he's
showing him like how to be compassionate, and I mean, it's like a bunch of little things in the movie that like humans go through. Like, she's grieving for her dead son, and then she's going to visit her sister that's about to have a baby, and it's like, it's just little things like that show like just things that humans have to go through that, you know, you don't really think about
that
like that.
Mother's compassion, and it comes across strong, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So
powerful movie. I liked it.
Yeah, but we all had trouble rating it, but no, I think it's very good in every possible sense. It's a great, objectively great movie, and I hope it wins a lot of awards come
I'm looking forward
Oscar
to watching
season,
it again.
because more people should watch it.
Yep. Slept on for sure. This has to be like the most underrated, maybe.
I don't think
90 nominations,
or just like publicity wise, I guess.
Well, that's the thing that's the thing about Hollywood, is like the material that gets pushed is so different from this that these movies slip through the cracks for normal people. Like, unless you like, I don't think this movie is getting like, I don't know, 26 million at the box office. Is that a lot? I don't know. Not to.
It had a 70 million budget.
Okay, so it didn't even make money. It lost money, right? That's what happens with a movie like this. I guarantee you, especially, we talk all the time, like, theater numbers are down, like, people aren't really going to theaters. Like, a movie like this will fall through the cracks because it's not what makes money. People aren't going to the theaters to see the Holdovers. Like, I bet you most people don't even know this movie fucking exists. You know,
that's the thing.
And unfortunately, when it does good at Oscar season and fucking whatever, then, like, generally those are when people start to watch movies like this, because they're like, you know, they get talked about. And that's going to even go away, because I think this year at Golden Globes had like, or whatever just passed, Emmys, whatever the fuck award show just passed.
Critics' Choice was the most recent, and the Golden Globes was a week prior.
I think the Golden Globes had like the worst ratings like in its history.
Really?
What's that?
Damn.
was like 4 million viewers.
Yeah,
it's
it had like the lowest ratings
lowest viewership rate ever
in its history. So like, and don't get me wrong, award shows are fucking stupid. I think they're dumb. They are completely fucking like just, you know, popularity club stuff. But
well, they were relatively entertaining when Ricky Gervais was hosting them.
Sure, but what I'm saying is like they don't give any value like to the films. Like the films are good no matter what. Yeah, I'm sure if you're an actor or writer or director, it feels great to be celebrated by your peers.
Right.
But unfortunately, again, movies like this don't get really any notoriety until award season comes. It's like, oh, this is best picture. Like, what is that? For casual like moviegoers or people who watch movies, like unless you have a fucking podcast or you watch movies all the time, like this is a movie I would watch normally, even not having a podcast, because I like to watch a lot of fucking movies and I generally try to stay active in like what's out and what's good. But the majority of people don't, and that's kind of sad that a movie like this won't get watched.
This is probably a movie I wouldn't have watched without the podcast, which obviously is kind of why we're here, because I haven't seen so many good movies. But I mean, that kind of saddens me. Like you only watch like some of the bigger stuff.
Well, because that's
when you don't have any when there's no like marketing or it's not being pushed or whatever.
Exactly, because that's what's pushed, right? Like that's what's pushed out there. It's like,
well, they're gonna advertise their $225 million movies way more than they are their,
of course,
$50 to $70 million movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I loved it. If you haven't watched it yet, folks, check out Holdovers. It's a great movie. Amazing, fantastic movie. Paul Giamatti's awesome. He's the man. Yeah. I don't know. I actually think this might be my favorite movie of 2023, even more than They Clone Tyrone. I'll have to think on it and revisit it.
It's just
it's a different type of movie for sure. Yeah. And I really do like They Clone Tyrone, but I don't know. This was just like, I miss movies like this. Like, and I know it's like, obviously they still get made. It's just like, even for somebody like me who likes to watch a lot of shit, they fall through the cracks. And like, you know, I have a whole list of movies that I haven't watched that I want to watch. And there's probably a lot on there like this, you know?
True.
The Fabelmans was another movie similar to that too, right? Like we watched that a while back, and that was like, that was like being talked about last award season, or The Whale. Like the Whale's a little bit different because that kind of had like the fat suit aspect to it, but like
The
Fabelmans was another movie similar to this. It was just like a movie about people. And I don't know, those are rare. You get like 1 or 2 a year, and then it's like,
you should really go watch A Man Called Otto. It's a banger.
Yeah, you were saying it was really good. I'll check it out eventually. But yeah, this movie's certainly a gem in a sea of CGI. And I love you guys know me. Like, I love Marvel movies. I love that shit. But like, it was just really refreshing to see like an actual fucking movie for once. Like, it's been a while.
It's a palate cleanser for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us, folks. Check out the Holdovers if you haven't watched it already. Also, if you haven't done so, consider subscribing to the channel. We do this every week, and we would love for you to join us next time. Leave a like, all that shit. You can check out our website, harshlanguage.tv, for some merch and all our links and all that good stuff. But we will catch you next week. Thank you for joining us. Till next time.
See ya.
Hasta.